There's actually another one.
Go for it. I want to hear
that I've encountered. Native American Israelitism.
Yeah,
and this is older than Mormonism. This we have back into the 15th, at least 16th century colonial writings, and people, and this is where, Joseph Smith got a lot of his inspiration. People were ready to believe this, right? That there were Native American tribes that spoke some kind of dialect of Hebrew, and they were the lost tribes of Israel. And the Book of Mormon leverages that myth.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and that's part of. So if you look at early Mormon objectives, it's like to reunite the tribes of Israel in Zion. Well, where's Zion? Well, it's no longer. It's not Jerusalem. It's in like Illinois, or I don't know exactly where it was, but they had a.
I think it's Pennsylvania, but
they had a Zion, right? And anyway,
what's interesting about this is that
it's a powerful ideology.
It's so powerful that it creeps into. It creeps into the Hebrew roots and the Messianic movement even today, right? I mean, I'm sorry, but to think that God has created some kind of covenant relationship with with national America, in and of itself, is replacement theology. And we've spoken before about Jonathan Cahn and his idea of if
America is in covenant with God.
Well, he wouldn't say that. Khan he tries to be very careful, even though I'm convinced that and I know that he's not trying to do this, but I'm convinced that what Khan is putting forward is actually Americanism and or replacement theology of America with Israel. And he would say, no, not at all. But the idea that if we continue in our ways, we are going to bring the covenant curses on us.
Which means we're already in the covenant.
Right, which means that in the covenant, you just have to assume that if we keep the covenant, if America as a nation keeps the covenant, then what? We'll receive the covenant blessings. But the problem is that God never talks about the land of America, and God never talks about being in covenant with America, and he never talks about America as being his land. The reason the covenant is,
the whole earth is his, but yeah,
absolutely. But if we look at and this is something that I've started to really ponder and look at in the scriptures. If we look at the covenants, it's completely attached to the land itself, the land of Israel. In other words, we tithe the land, right? The idea of tithing money, you don't tithe money except for the holy half shekel once a year. That's an offering, a free will offering. You can give money to the temple, but you can't. Basically, you tithe the produce. Why? Because the land is the Lord's.
It's the priest's due. I mean, it's
exactly.
It's an economy. It's an actual.
This is also why you're not allowed to, the land goes back to the tribal rightful owner in the Jubilee year, right? Is because the land is the Lord's and it belongs to him. But you can sell your property in the city. In other words, the agricultural land out in the, farmland, essentially. This is the land that God, you have to wrest the land from being tilled and being harvested. Why? Because the land is the Lord's. You have to let the land rest every 7 years. Why? Because the land is the Lord's. You have to, if you live in an apartment in the city, what's the repercussions? I mean, what do you have to do for that? You can't let your land rest if you're living in an apartment in the city of Jerusalem, even in that time, even when Israel came into the land. So, we're off in the weeds now, but the point is that the idea
we're back in the weeds.
Yeah, exactly. The point is that the idea that America is God's land, sure, in the broader sense of the entire world is the Lord's, absolutely. But the idea that we can keep the covenant and all of a sudden we get all the covenant blessings, I'm sorry, I don't see it in Scripture. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking the subscribe button and check out more videos from Messiah Matters.